the father of Alexander and Rufus, was passing by on his way in from the country, and they forced him to carry the cross. They brought Jesus to the place called Golgotha, which means the place of the skull. Then they offered him wine mixed with myrrh, but he did not take it. And they crucified him. Dividing up his clothes, they cast lots to see what each would take. It was 9 a.m. when they crucified him. The written notice of the charge against him read, "The King of the Jews." They crucified 2 rebels with him, one on his right and one on his left. Those who passed by hurled insult at him, shaking their heads and saying, "So, you who are going to destroy the temple and build it in 3 days, come down from the cross and save yourself." In the same way, the chief priests and teachers of the law mocked him among themselves. "He saved others," they said, "but he can't save himself. Let this Messiah, this King of Israel, come down now from the cross, that we may see and believe." Those crucified with him also heaped insults on him. At noon, darkness came over the whole land until 3 p.m. And at 3 p.m, Jesus cried out in a loud voice, "Eloi, Eloi, lema sabachthani," which means, my God, why have you forsaken me?" When some of those standing near heard this, they said, "Listen, he's calling Elijah." Someone ran, filled a sponge with wine vinegar, put it on a staff, and offered it to Jesus to drink. "Now leave him alone. Let's see if Elijah comes down to take him." With a loud cry, Jesus breathed his last. The curtain of the temple was torn in 2 from top to bottom, and when the centurion who stood there in front of Jesus saw how he died, he said, "Surely this man was the Son of God."
Good morning. It's great to see familiar faces, old friends gather on this Good Friday of 2019. No matter how we say it, and no matter what is said, there is a certain strangeness to the day. One that we gather and stop, and the word probably is not just acknowledge, but indeed celebrate the death and resurrection of someone. And we stop, and in all the darkness, we realise on a Good Friday that it does remind us of pain. The stage sets that. It's a desolate day. It's a day of sacrifice. It's a day of someone losing their life. It's a day that really is full of emptiness. And we get that, and those who stop and know this get that. And it's not just really about an unnamed woman sharing her story, but a story where indeed she discovered hope. She also felt the eyes and the glares and the stares of others, no doubt pointing the finger at her. But indeed, as the story goes, she would soon meet the one who made the difference in her life. Our Easter theme is called Restored, and the word restored, restoration, has certainly grabbed my attention and the attention of many others for quite a while as we come to this day and this moment in time. Sacrifice, restoration. Many of you know what that means. But let me ask a thought about that. You know, if there is restoration to happen, so what's broken? There has to be something broken for it to be restored. I think you'd grant that. So what is this thing that might be broken? What is this thing that we say needs to be restored? Famous female, Elizabeth Elliot, married to Jim, she said this: "We want to avoid suffering, death, sin, ashes, but we live in a world crushed and broken and torn. A world God himself visited to redeem." And I don't believe I have to stand here this morning and argue to you that there is brokenness in the world. Rachel picked that up in the prayers. You know it in your own life. You know it in reading the news. Any given day, any given hour, you'll find a heartbreaking story. Let me ask a random question to get you to raise your hands. How many people know someone who's been affected by cancer and has passed away for cancer? You only have to look around the room instantly to think, wow. All of us knows what brokenness means. All of us hearing Walter and Kate's story can feel the weight of that. And can feel the weight of having a little one that you know you'd do anything for. You'd give your kidney, you'd give blood, you'd do anything for your son or daughter. Elizabeth is right. We live in a world that is crushed, is broken. There's something not right. We know that. And we come to this Good Friday moment in time, and so let's ask a further question. Restoration costs. If you're going to restore something, it costs. Someone's got to pay something in the last little while. You know this as I know this. A famous church, an 850-year-old Gothic building, church, has been caught on fire. So far, I'm hearing that it's going to cost up to $1 billion to repair. And just in case you're wondering, because you gather on Good Friday and we know Sunday's coming and we have this point in the Easter message about 3 days, so just in case you're wondering, they will not be able to rebuild that in 3 days. It's one of those great criticisms that people said about Jesus. How dare he suggest that if I die on a certain day, I'll rise on another day. Notre Dame has undergone massive damage. I did read during the week where one writer suggested that this fire is potentially symbolic of the Western world. And maybe even indeed symbolic of the Christian faith in the Western world, that there is something not right, that it's on fire. And no doubt over time others will share more about that. But indeed, again, if you need to find an image of brokenness, that is one. Significant cost. Someone's going to have to pay a lot of money. Yes, people are doing that. So that's a big story. What about, restoration repairs? Who's going to actually do the repair work? Someone's going to have to do it. Someone might give money, but someone else has to do it. And you can think that when you come to the little things. Let's go from the big to the small. What about a broken toy? Mum or dad or friend could repair a broken toy. And I know you all love Toy Story. I imagine that when Rhonda and I are 85, living in a nursing home, our grandson will text to say, Dad, Granddad, they're rerunning Toy Story 25. Quickly watch it. Baby boomers, you can't live with them and you can't live without them. We love things like that, but that's an easy thing. Maybe a bit of glue. Woody, you can repair something like that. And we could do that, yes. If people got money, they can put it towards the Notre Dame. People got a bit of glue and a hammer or something. A nail, you could do some repair work. Some things are even possible for us to repair. Some things are possible for us. So let's push it further. What about broken hearts? Is it too late to apologise? I apologise for using a line from a band. Is it too late to apologise? Maybe some of you know the experience of brokenness in your life. Maybe you're waiting right now for someone to apologise. Keep looking at the front. Don't turn left or right. Maybe someone in your life close to you hasn't yet taken that first step to say sorry. Maybe, of course, they've taken a backward step, a couple of backward steps, and are waiting for you to apologise and to say sorry. And often, sadly, in relationships, when there's a broken heart involved, we let it go for too long before we even seek to repair it. That is if, of course, you think you can repair a broken heart. Where would I get information about how you repair a broken heart? Clearly from some great Australians. Let's turn to the BGs, they'll help me. How do you mend a broken heart? But I was never told about the sorrow. How can you mend a broken heart? How can you stop the rain from falling down? How can you stop the sun from shining? Sadly, of course, if you know the song and they don't answer there's just lots of questions in the song. And what's worse now, both Robin and Maurice have gone. They've passed on. How do you mend a broken heart? I don't know. I probably can imagine. Don't respond, but I've probably caused hearts to be broken. I don't think I know how to mend that. And so things of this world, we could repair them. Toys maybe, broken hearts, it's getting more complex. Humans are complex. Mending something that affects us is a challenge. If something's broken, if your heart is broken, no doubt there's a reason for it. No doubt someone has been involved in the causing of that broken heart. To fix it, who knows what the step might be. But broken hearts are real. We feel the pain. Someone has to pay something. Someone has to take an initiative to mend that which is broken. Just randomly, if that is you today, then maybe one result of today might be that you might actually walk out of this service and you might decide that enough pain has been inflicted, and so maybe now is the time I should ring, text, call someone and say sorry. But broken hearts, how do you mend that? And what about the real big question of life? The real big one. What about how do you restore man and God? Who's going to pay? Who's going to do it? Who actually needs to apologise? Who actually would go down this path of saying there's a gap, something's happened between humanity and the creator of humanity, between man and God? Who or what or when? How's that going to fall out? Maybe, humanly we can do Notre Dame, a toy. Maybe we could mend a broken heart through apology. I don't think anyone here, though, has the capacity to restore a broken relationship between man and God. And yes, please understand that I believe it is a broken relationship. Why? Because of our attitude, our heart. Why? Because of one word, sin. My attitude, my selfishness, I want what I want when I want it, pride, envy, jealousy, you name it, you can put it all there. You can think of the big sins if you like, but sin is all of those things. And there's just some things that indicate this brokenness between man and God. And Good Friday lands in our context. Good Friday comes in that moment and echoes and tells us something has happened. Something has happened to restore this relationship, this which was broken. And I know, like you know, I'm telling you one part of the story. I know, like you know, that Sunday's coming. I acknowledge that. Please don't think I don't know that. I do know that. But I want to stop today and think of the sacrifice that's been required to get us to this place even before Sunday. Because as I think about this day and all that it cost, it's pretty powerful. And yes, the Good Friday story is full of horror. It's a dark story. These trees echo. It's a desolate story. It's a story of emptiness. Walter and Kate mentioned that there were things that they didn't expect to see coming. I doubt very much if those who walked with Jesus even heard him, as Shane said, this is going to happen. They didn't really believe that it was going to happen. And then they get to that moment and it happens. He dies. He's crucified. The mocking that went on. We read that from the Bible, and they crucified him. Simple as that, isn't it? And they crucified him. Dividing up his clothes, they cast lots to see what each would get. It was 9 a.m. when they crucified him. The written notice on the charge against him simply read what? The King of the Jews. They crucified 2 rebels with him, one on his right and one on his left. Those who passed by hurled insults at him, shaking their heads and saying, "So." It's like that ha moment. So, you think you're king. You're so good. You tell us this. How about you do something? You who are going to destroy the temple and build it in what? 3 days. Yeah, as if. How about you come down from the cross and save yourself? I mean, really, seriously, not that if he did do that, all of a sudden they'd stop and, wow, we're so moved and blown away. Who'd have thought? But just to sort of mock, rib, stir, you are no king. Who are you to say this? Why don't you come down and save yourself? And maybe you're sitting there because you heard those words read out, which echoed Jesus' cry in Mark's Gospel. That cry of Eloi, Eloi, lema sabachthani, my God, why have you forsaken me? Maybe you're hearing those words as well. Shouldn't God have come down at this point and done something to those who are mocking his son? Shouldn't God have come down and obliterated them? Fix them, sort them out. I've already said, watching Walter and Kate, you would do anything for your little one. You'd do anything for a family member. Come on, God, where are you? Why are you not doing something? All this mockery, all this laughing and spitting and insulting. I mean, what would you do to protect your son? You'd do anything. Having watched Jesus on the cross, someone who was already broken, being further broken and destroyed, there is no pleasure in that. There cannot be. God, stop this happening. Fix your son, restore him. At least fix them. Can't you just wipe them out or something? No, God does not come down to destroy them. God does not come down to obliterate them. Far from it. In the book of Isaiah, and this comes from Isaiah 53, and you probably know it, the Bible actually says, it pleased the Lord. It pleased the Lord to watch this. Because this was a fulfillment of something. This is a sacrifice that had to be made to bridge that gap between man and God. It was the will of God to have this happen, for his Son to die in this manner. To restore mankind to be back in a relationship with God was going to come at a cost that no one else could have ever paid. It was going to come at a cost that no man or woman, community, nation could ever pay. It was going to come at a cost where someone was going to need to be nailed to a cross and suffer such a death. The cost of someone's life, the innocent one for the guilty. We know that. Jesus knew that. Those famous words from Mark 10:45, for even the Son of Man came not to be served, but to serve and to give his life as a ransom for many. Jesus knew this. He knew this was his journey, his destination. He echoes it. He speaks it out. I know what I'm here to do. Let's not quickly jump to that moment of desolation. He has come to restore mankind. And this is what we are called to do, to respond to. Today I'll be asking you to respond to such an action from someone. Brokenness of humanity. Sometimes, sadly, we don't get to be in a situation to save that which needs to be saved. Sadly, in 2019, too many people, too many young people are struggling and suffering, and we don't get there in time to help, to save, to heal. And you might know that in your own life. In this situation, Christ was there, dying this terrible death, and we wonder, God, why did you not come down? We can think that God was absent. We can think that God didn't care. We can think lots of things about that. At noon, darkness came over the whole land until 3 p.m, and at 3 p.m, Jesus cried out in a loud voice, and sometimes we forget the little details. Jesus cried out in a loud voice. He still had any energy to do that. This is someone unique in all humanity. My God, why have you forsaken me? With some of those standing there heard this. They said, listen, he's calling Elijah. Someone ran, filled a sponge with wine and vinegar, put it on a staff and offered it to Jesus to drink. Now leave him alone. Let's see if Elijah comes to take him down, he said. We can think that somehow God wasn't there in this moment of agony, the feeling of absence of God. But the truth is, his Father in heaven was there in ways we probably least expected. His Father was not there to punish those who mocked his Son. His Father was not there to protect his Son from that mocking. And his Father was there to ensure that the punishment actually did fall on Jesus. This sacrifice, long awaited Lamb of God dying for the sins of the whole world. That phrase, that word we know. The 6th hour. At the peak of the midday sun, this is happening, the heat of the day. Jesus had spent 3 hours on the cross. After 3 hours of pain and suffering, that's when he calls out, my God, why have you forsaken me? He'd said a number of things in that time, recorded by the other Gospels, from it is finished, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Things that really impacted others. To the other thief on the cross, today you'll be with me in paradise. All these things point to a difficult day, an awkward day. Darkness fell. It was at that moment, in fact, that God was present, not absent. And the Old Testament affirms language like light and darkness indicate God's presence. In fact, darkness is not the absence of God. It's actually the presence of God. Isaiah, Genesis, Exodus, Amos chapter 8 affirms this truth, that God is there in the darkness. And what the darkness indicates and is symbolic of is divine judgment falling on Jesus. And how do I sum up words like pain and judgment? And maybe the word hell has been used in all sorts of ways in the last little while. But make no mistake, pain and judgment fell on Israel, fell on Jerusalem, fell on Golgotha, fell on Jesus' head on that day. All the sins of humanity came and were channeled in those 3 hours on Christ. My sins, your sins, the sins of the whole world, the sins that were, the sins that are to come, they were landed on Him. This everlasting punishment that deep down should have come to us is on Him. God was there. He was, dare I say it, the power in the darkness. Some of you might have seen that most gut-wrenching movie, The Passion of the Christ, a few years ago that Mel Gibson put together. One of those. I don't think I'll ever watch it again, just in case you're wondering. But there was a moment in the crucifixion scene when a tear from heaven fell. I thought it was very, very powerful. And I think it echoed God's own pain watching this while judgment and justice was being carried out. In those 3 hours, Jesus suffered punishment for all of mankind. Infinite punishment on the infinite Son. On that first Good Friday, Jesus became sin for us. On that first Good Friday, Jesus bore our sins in His body. In that first, Jesus paid the ransom that we could not pay. And at the 9th hour, what did He do? With a loud cry, Jesus breathed His last. The curtain of the temple was torn in two from top to bottom. Please echo that. And when the centurion who stood there in front of Jesus saw how He died, echo that, saw how He died. This centurion, I take it, did not see Jesus' miracles, did not see Jesus' life, did not see all that He'd done, did not see Jesus raise the dead to life. The centurion saw how Jesus died. In that moment, a centurion who is an expert in execution, a centurion who is a Gentile, a Roman soldier. And what was his response? And yes, even in this service, this man, only one response, one man in this whole scene of all these people, surely this man was the Son of God. Surely this man was the Son of God. That's when He breathed His last. And Jesus gave up His spirit. Yes, He quotes Psalm 22. Yes, we know the cost of restoration. Now, as a result of all of this, Jesus, God, we wait humanity's response. What is your response to such an action for someone on your behalf? Jesus feels the weight of humanity. He endures to the end. He is strong to the end, and yet He cries out. And here we see it, without Jesus' loving sacrifice, we have no restoration, we have no future, we have no hope. Good Friday is the greatest act forever, for all mankind, because of what God has done in and through His Son. The greatest restoration project ever to be undertaken was done by God through His Son, who willingly gave up His life. And at that moment, the ransom was paid. Yes, others mocked, but this one man didn't. This one man didn't. He stood there, and he stood there in front of the cross. And he'd witnessed it all. And his response, as he realised what God had done in that most awful moment, his only response was that surely this man was the Son of God. Who is paying the price? Jesus. Who is doing the work? God. Who needs to apologise? We do. Why? Because of this incredible act of grace. That was young Phoebe, who's done a great job, and I know I'm really incredibly thankful for Greg and everyone else who's put such a wonderful effort in, Hayley, everyone. So put your hands together again just to thank everyone. Fantastic. Young Rob might just flick across up behind me. So now we come to your moment. Many of you, I can see familiar faces, know the Lord, love the Lord, serve the Lord, and maybe Good Friday reminds you of your own journey and the fact you need to hold on to that. Maybe others are at a point in time where they think, I'm not restored. You may not be restored with each other, but you are certainly not restored with the God who has given his life for you. You see, what does the cross show us and tell us? The cross shows and tells us of the love of God for us. I know Sunday's coming. The cross shows me even the one with the hardest heart, a centurion. Even the one with the hardest heart can say yes to Jesus. Most would consider the centurion is actually the first convert to Christianity post the death of Jesus. The cross points a new way. The cross shows us there is a restored way with God. The cross shows us that there is genuine forgiveness, no matter who you are, no matter your journey, no matter your brokenness, no matter your feeling of separation from each other, from God. This message of the cross, this message of hope, this message of restoration is for all of us. All of us. I have a prayer on the screen. Lord, thank you for paying that which I could not pay. Lord, thank you for doing that which I could not do. Lord, forgive me and accept me as I am. Lord, thank you that while I was still far off, you took the step to restore that which was broken. And finally, thank you for all that you have done and for the fresh start you have given me. In a moment, I'm going to pray that prayer. In a moment, I'm going to ask all of you to close your eyes and to bow your heads. I'm going to say that prayer out loud, line and a line. And if you'd like to pray it, if Good Friday of 2019 is your day to be restored with the living God, if Good Friday is going to become a new day in the book of your life as a new chapter, then I ask you to say this prayer. And then Shane will help you in a moment or two in regards to the next step. But don't just... we do a lot of stuff around, you look at a lot of stuff in life and you think, someone else can pray that. I'm asking you, man to man, woman to woman, directly, eyeball to eyeball, where do you stand with the living God? Are you restored in that relationship? And do you have the same hope that I have as I anticipate Sunday coming? If not, this prayer is for you. Bow your heads with me, please. I'll say this prayer out loud. And I'll go an extra step. Keep your heads bowed, your eyes closed. If you want to raise your hand right where you're sitting to assist you to acknowledge this prayer, then feel free to do so as I pray it. Say it after me. Say it quietly in your heart. Lord, thank you for paying that which I could not pay. Lord, thank you for doing that which I could not do. Lord, forgive me and accept me as I am. Lord, thank you that while I was still far off, you took the step to restore that which was broken. Thank you for all that you have done and for the fresh start you have given me. Amen.